Seeing none, let's go to old business. Carrie, you can come back up again. Architecture memorandum of understanding.
Gary, we had attached to the packet some questions that Mr. Walsh submitted. We already had gone through this, and I know the DLA made the amendments our attorney recommended.
Yes.
Can you address Mr. Walsh's question?
Yes, we did work with the school district's attorney to make some amendments to the memorandum, and then there were some additional comments by Mr. Walsh, and we'll continue to work through those and get it so that we are on the same page with the verbiage. The concept is there, and we do want, the intention is to proceed from schematic design to design development, construction documents, and site observation, and mechanical, electrical, plumbing, civil, structural, engineering would all be included in this proposal.
So if we don't vote on it today, then is this hurting our timeline?
We would like to, move as soon as possible. So yes, it is hurting the timeline. As we've mentioned before, time is now of the essence, and we need to continue to move forward.
So our board attorney has reviewed what you initially submitted. Came back with changes that needed to be made. You made those changes?
That's correct.
Okay, so how does the board feel about this?
Well, let me,
I
can
won't
you?
support the agreement in the form and said whether I keep hearing our attorney looked at it. You saw the comments.
I
There's
think
an
that's why we hire an
absolute
attorney for. That's why we hire an attorney to look out for our best interest. I think.
There's an absolute conflict between the agreement we have with you that has a whole section on the services you're gonna provide and what that memorandum of understanding says it's gonna provide. I don't know how much details we gave the attorney, whether he knew, but the memorandum of understanding takes precedence over the term. So, like, for instance, preparing an RFP. It doesn't say you're gonna help prepare the RFP in the memorandum of understanding, because it doesn't address that section. And it's, whether our attorney looked at it or not, in my mind, you can't pick up that document and know whether that's the service we're getting for the 9%. So I don't know if you disagree with that or not. I mean, I'd like to go forward too. And, Matt can say our attorney looked at it, but I don't know. I review agreements every day. If you tell, I don't know what he knew, what he didn't know, whether he was asked to look at that part of it or not. And I'm more concerned because after the last construction, we had several people, including Matt and this board, have all been concerned about what did we agree to, what did we pay for, and what did we get. So I'm asking to say, let's make it clear from the start so that another board 2 or 3 or 4 years from now doesn't say, well, what did we agree to and what did we get, and did we get what we were supposed to pay for?
Carrie, there's some questions that you can talk to tonight that Mr. Walsh submitted. I know there's some that you have your attorney looking at.
Sure, would you like to ask me those questions right now, or do you want me to respond?
Well, I'm wondering if there's some here that we can talk about tonight that would maybe help ease some of the concerns of the board, including Mr. Walsh. At least to begin this discussion. I mean, the worst case scenario is that we approve this September 9th, and you have something in writing. But, I mean, for instance, will DLA prepare, transmit, and review RFPs? Is that something that technically is in the AIA agreement, or is that something you do out of courtesy for us?
No, we would do that.
Okay, so is that something you want specifically mentioned in the memorandum? Is that what I'm trying to get to, or is that what you're?
I suggested a simple thing, that you're gonna do all the services that are listed in the agreement in section 3, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Including specifically what's on here, so there's not a question of whether this list varies from what the services there are on there. If you just put something simple like that in there, it addresses almost every comment I made on it, because it just is unclear.
Right. Do you understand?
Yes.
Does that help clarify?
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy fix.
But we should wait till we get it fixed.
Well, we could do what we've done before and say, assuming that Kevin gets a revised agreement with the language in it that we're talking about here, we're approving it, the agreement with the changes and based on the pricing that you put in there.
That's okay.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I think there were, another question was, and I think this is important for the board to understand, this will lead into the next question, is the level of construction and oversight that DLA will perform. Is that also covered in section 3 of the agreement?
No, it is not. Actually, that is left to be determined by the memo of understanding. And so what I had corrected in my draft that I haven't given to you yet is that we would be on site an average of 3 to 4 times a week for this agreement. I say average because depending on the construction sequencing and what's going on that week, it may not make any sense for us to be out. It may make sense for us to be out 4 times the next week or twice the next week. I can only offer you that, but it would be on an average basis, but it would be a little bit more specific, which I think is what you were
Well,
looking for.
Kevin hit it. I mean, those, my 2 big things is what service are being provided.
Mhm.
And I don't understand, from what I read, why, why we need a construction manager, what services they're provide that weren't included in what are listed as the services you provided.
Mhm.
It's the next item. Presumably you're gonna
Sure.
explain it to us, but, so maybe,
Sure.
I mean, I defer to Matt, he runs the agenda, but if you could explain that,
Mhm.
then it'd be easier to come back and for me to say, then fine, I
Right,
can
we are
go
not the
along
same
with this.
entity. That is for.
So
absolutely
let's talk about construction manager, we'll come back to this.
Right, well, before we get into construction management,
All right, what other questions?
let's just take a look here. Is there some other simple things? One of the questions was, is the 81K that's earned in contractor overhead and profit, is that normal to be part of the 9% calculation?
That is correct.
And that is standard, and that's standard practice?
That is standard practice.
Okay. Tim, I'm looking for some of those bigger ones.
Well, I think those were the 3 biggest ones,
Okay.
Kevin.
So do you feel, changing the MOU so that it says all work?
All services will be provided as described in the AIA contract that was dated on
February
such and
6th.
such date.
Right.
And those will be the basis of our services for this agreement.
Okay,
Is that what you were looking for?
Library?
Okay.
yes.